We're standing on the brink of a crisis of all ages. The four angels cannot hold the winds of strife much longer, and a crisis is stealing upon us all. So we need to be alert. We are advantaged to put on the whole armour of God, so we can withstand the fiery darts of the enemy. A time of trouble is coming that we cannot imagine. We who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus will be in serious trouble with all the governments of the world. We as true Sabbath keepers will be blamed for all the calamities that are coming upon the world. And the supposed global warming is playing a big part in this. I asked myself this question, this so-called global warming, is it true? Or is it going to be used as a part of the Great Reset or New World Order, as sometimes it's called? We remember in 1974, there was a programme on the BBC called The Ice Age Cometh. This was advertised on the front of the Radio Times, which is the official paper for the BBC. Yeah. As a copy of this programme, we saw it. And scientists believe that things evolve over millions and millions of years. So how, in just about 50 years, can we go from going to the Ice Age now to global warming? Doesn't make sense, does it? Doesn't make sense. But we know this is going to be used. We're not denying this world has been damaged. It's been damaged by what they've been doing, all the chemtrails and all these kind of things they're doing. It's certainly been damaged. But I think this is going to be used to get what they want. The Great Controversy, page 223, says, "Only those who have been diligent students of the Scriptures, who have received the love of the truth, will be shielded from the powerful delusion that takes the world captive." Well, we've seen things in the past, haven't we, recently? In the pandemic, as I call it, I was given a text, a Bible text, and it was Isaiah 25, verse 7. And it says, "He will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations." Well, everybody was wearing face masks. Or something, something to protect themselves. And certainly we've seen since people have gone into what actually happened, there was a veil spread over all nations. There was. In closing, we're going to look at the final events. I've selected a few passages from the Great Controversy, chapter 39. When the third angel's message closes, mercy no longer pleads for the guilty inhabitants of the earth. The people of God have accomplished their work. They have received the latter rain and the refreshing from the presence of the Lord, and they are prepared for the trying hour before them. Angels are hastening to and fro in heaven. An angel returning from earth announces that his work is done. The final test has been brought upon the world. All who have proved themselves loyal to the divine precepts have received the seal of the living God. As the Sabbath becomes the special point of controversy throughout Christendom, and religious and secular authorities have combined to enforce the observance of Sunday, the persistent refusal of a small minority to yield to the popular demand will make them objects of universal execration. It will be urged that a few who stand in opposition to an institution of the church and a law of state ought not to be tolerated. It is better for them to suffer than for the whole nation to be thrown in confusion and lawlessness. A similar thing was said of Christ in John 18:14, when Caiaphas said, "It's expedient for one man, that one man should die for the people." The satanic plan is to destroy their faith so that God's people will turn from their allegiance to God and worship the beast. Though God's people will be surrounded by enemies who are bent upon their destruction, yet the anguish which they suffer is not a dread of persecution for the truth's sake. They fear that every sin has not been repented of, and that through some fault in themselves they will fail to realise the fulfilment of the Saviour's promise. I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world. Revelation 3, verse 10. If they could have the assurance and pardon that they would not shrink, if they could have the assurance of pardon, they would not shrink from the torture or death. But should they prove unworthy and lose their lives because of their own defects of character, then God's holy name would be reproached. When God's people are sealed, the 7 last plagues will fall. These plagues are not universal, or the inhabitants of the earth will be wholly cut off. Yet they will be the most awful scourges that have ever been known to mortals. All the judgments prior to the close of probation have been mingled with mercy. The pleading blood of Christ has shielded the sinner from receiving the full measure of his guilt. But in the final judgment, wrath is poured out unmixed with mercy. So we have a choice, don't we? To obey God and receive the wrath of man, or obey man and receive